Welcome back, everyone, to a Film Odyssey podcast where we talk about movies, TV, and everything in between. Today, we're doing a double feature horror movie review, which I'm very excited for. Uh, I would say this is kind of like the Barbenheimer of this year, at least box office wise, because it seems like everybody's going to see these two movies and they're just both blowing up. We're going to talk about Obsession and Backrooms, and I have a special guest, Kalyn Lamey, and she's a big horror fan, so I figured this would be a good episode for you to be on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your relationship to movies?
So as you said, my name is Kalyn Lamey. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I I've always been a huge movie buff. In fact, when I was, 8 or 9, became completely obsessed with the movie Titanic. Like, was watching it like every night and became fascinated not just with the movie, but also with like, how did they do this? How did they make this? Um, and later in life, started exploring like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. I was oddly enough not a horror fan as a child. I was very scared of everything. And it was much later that I became really intrigued by and fascinated by horror films. I would say in like my late teens and then even more so as an adult. So at this point, my husband and I tend to watch almost exclusively horror movies, especially going to the theaters. We'll see some other stuff here and there, but horror really is our genre. So this was perfect for me to come on and talk about because I love talking about horror movies. And I got a chance to see both of these, so this works out perfectly.
Yeah, I don't often see horror movies in theaters, but these both of these were really good experiences, so I think I'll do that more. I personally I'm not as into horror, but that's mainly just because when I was young, I wasn't like allowed to watch horror movies, so
Oh,
I'm trying
yeah.
to catch up now.
Yeah, as I said, I was not super into it young, so I have played catch up quite a bit now that I'm older. And my husband as well. He didn't watch a ton of it when he was younger. So sometimes we even say, let's watch this old like, a classic horror that everyone should, should have seen at some point that neither of us had seen. Like we sat down and watched the original Halloween and the original Friday the 13th and things like that because we were like, surely we need to have seen these, even though they never crept up naturally for us along the way.
I've actually seen probably more old horror movies than recent ones, so
Oh,
that's like
wow.
most of my list, basically.
Oh, that's interesting. Because a lot of ours is or mine that I've watched is far more recent because I've had to go back and fill in some of that old stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we get to like what we've been watching this week? Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. So, of course, I saw Obsession
Yeah.
and Backrooms, which we will talk about in detail. I went through my letterbox to see what else I've seen recently, and the only other movie we've watched recently was Send Help, which
Oh,
is a fairly recent release um, starring Rachel McAdams and uh,
Dylan O'Brien.
yes, I couldn't think of his name. Thank you. And it was interesting, uh, very campy,
Hmm.
um, great performances by both of them. Not my style of movie necessarily, but not a bad watch either. And aside from that, the only other thing I've really been watching recently is I watched last week, I binged the entirety of the Amazon Prime show Off Campus, which is
Oh, I heard about
completely
that.
completely different
Yeah.
genre entirely. That's like a rom-com romancy kind of show. It kind of reminds me of, it felt very like early 2000s CW. Like it felt like One Tree Hill and shows like that I was watching as a teenager.
Yeah.
So it's like this feels, even though it's brand new, it feels very nostalgic for me just in terms of the vibes and the just the setup of the show. So that was a fun show to watch. Super cute. And I'm excited for season 2, but I binged it all in one day. And yeah, it was worth it. It was worth spending that day binging it, I think.
Yeah, that makes me want to watch it more because I like those vibes too.
Yeah.
I also did see Sin Hell quite a while ago. I did want to do an episode on it, but it was like the hype had already passed. But I did really enjoy it. I agree that it was very campy and I like that. My main issue was just like I didn't really care for the ending, but I loved like everything on the island. That was so fun.
Yeah, I didn't love the ending either. But yeah, they did a great job. I did kind of see where things were going up until the very ending, but I did kind of see how things were going to unravel. Probably just from watching too many movies, I can sort of see where things might go. But I did enjoy the performances, and I want to know how they made Rachel McAdams look so ugly, because she's not. She's
Okay. But people have been arguing about that because some people were like, no, but she's not even ugly though in the movie.
They made her seem gross, I think is the
Yeah,
thing. Like,
definitely in the very beginning, she was gross.
yeah, not necessarily like you can't make her face ugly without like basically completely redoing her face, but they made her seem just deeply unattractive as a human being, and that was a feat. So that was good, and I expected Dylan O'Brien's character to be much more of an in-your-face jerk than he turned out to be. Like he was still a jerk, but he kind of hid it a little better than I was expecting. Like he seemed to have a little more layers to him than I was expecting. So I appreciated that too.
Yeah, but also if he was more of a jerk, that would be in line with the movie because it's like very dramatic,
Yes,
So
yes.
okay. I thought I'd only seen a couple movies, but like, geez, I've actually seen quite a few lately. I watched Shiva Baby, which is like this very awkward, uncomfortable movie about like this girl going to a Shiva and
Hmm.
her ex is there and her current boyfriend is there. It is like all this drama and stuff. It went in places I did not expect it to go. It's like really cringy, but in a
Oh
good way.
boy.
Yeah. So that was good. And then I watched Rushmore for the first time. This is like a
Okay.
very early Wes Anderson movie, and I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that doesn't hold up at all," but I don't know. I thought it was really good. I rewatched Catch Me If You Can. This is one of my favorite
Oh,
movies to watch. Yeah, just like so fun. Actually pretty underrated, I think. It's one of Spielberg's best movies. I did rewatch some horror movies. I'm not going to reveal which ones, but we'll talk about that.
okay.
I also watched The Wolf of Wall Street with my bestie.
Oh,
That was an interesting, interesting experience. That's been on my watch list for a long time. And okay, I watched All the President's Men, which
hmm.
I am actually kind of obsessed with. Have you seen it?
No, I've not. I mean, I'm aware of it, but
Yeah, it's so good. Like the duo of Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman is like one of the best of all time. And it's just probably my favorite journalism movie. And I love a good journalism movie, where they're like running around the office, like trying to get the story. Just those vibes are so good. I think a recent comparison I would make is Spotlight.
oh, I love Spotlight.
Yes, I love
I've watched
Spotlight.
Spotlight multiple times. Like
Mhm.
I just love that. I love that type of storytelling. Yeah, it's so good. I've not seen All the President's Men, but that makes me want to go watch it because I love Spotlight.
It's basically like an old version of that. It's about the uncovering the truth about the Nixon Watergate
Watergate.
scandal. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I didn't really know anything about it, so it was very interesting to kind of it was like a mystery, and I didn't it's history, but I didn't actually know where it was going exactly. So I like stuff like that.
I honestly don't know all the details of Watergate. I mean, I know it ended Nixon's presidency and was a big scandal, and I know that, in Forrest Gump, they rode in that Forrest basically uncovered Watergate. Um, but I don't think that was factual since he also did a lot of other things in that movie that he couldn't have done. So,
Yeah, I don't think so. Um, but yeah, that's about it. And then a couple days ago, I watched Backrooms, so that one's pretty fresh. Obsession, on the other hand, I watched about a month ago, so that's
yeah,
been quite a while longer. But I think I still remember most of what I wanted to talk about because it's just very memorable.
yeah. And I took decent notes after
Oh, okay.
Obsession because I'm not great notes, but for me, great notes. Because I had feelings coming out of
Mhm.
Obsession.
Okay, I didn't take notes, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
I'll start with we can start talking about Obsession. So this actually came out like last year, but it was like just a festival, so now it's
Hmm.
out for everybody. Directed by Curry Barker. This is his debut, and this is a great pairing of movies because they're very similar in that it's former like YouTube social media people, very young people who are making their first horror film, and they just happen to come out at the exact same time, so that's very interesting. It's starring Michael Johnston and Indy Navarrete, who
Hmm.
are both excellent. We'll talk about that. And very low budget, but it looks very good for a low budget movie. I don't know, the way it's shot I really liked. It's like kind of grainy, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. And the synopsis is after breaking the mysterious one wish willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. So, I mean, from that plot, it kind of sounds a little bit generic, like you've seen something like that before. But I will say that it's very unique way of telling the story. So,
Most definitely. And
mhm,
I think that not to get into spoilers yet because we
mhm,
want to hold off on that, but I think that yeah, the basics of it are very generic, but it's so well, like all of the cinematography, the the script, the delivery, the just choice of like how long to hold the take for,
mhm.
before cutting. All of that just makes it so suspenseful and so uncomfortable that just it works. And you don't need a completely fresh idea. Like it doesn't have to be a completely never before seen idea or a plot or whatever in order for it to work as a movie. It can't be, the story can't be stale and everything else be kind of stale and like people are phoning it in. Some stuff has to really pop, and all the other stuff pops so well that it's okay that it's a story that, you know, we, a tale as old as time, that's okay because everything else to me worked so well.
And also, even though it's like such a simple and you would think predictable story, I actually never predicted where it was going to go. It was always surprising me. And even the ending, which we'll get into, I didn't really see that coming either. I really, because it was like a lot better than I would have expected the ending to be. Because usually with horror movies, I love them, but they really struggle to stick the landing most of the time. And Obsession is like one of those rare instances where it's like the best part of the movie is actually the ending. So.
I also thought that the ending was really good. I liked how it ended. And you're absolutely right. The endings can be kind of lackluster or like unsatisfactory.
Mhm.
Um, but they did such a good job. And I don't know if you heard oh, and obviously I'm not going to say how it ended, but it was supposed to end differently, and the someone talked the director into shooting a different version, and actually after seeing it, he was convinced, no, this is the right ending for it. So that also shows that he is someone who is willing to take in other opinions, because creating a movie is, it's not a singular, it's not an isolationist kind of art form. So it sounds like he is someone who genuinely takes feedback and ideas from others and is good at collaboration, which is awesome. So that makes me look forward to seeing his future movies.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to his. I think his next movie is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. Um,
Oh,
yeah, which sounds really interesting because I've heard I haven't seen the previous reboots and sequels. I heard they're not good, but I do have faith that since he's behind it, that it might be actually good.
yeah, I've never seen a Texas Chainsaw movie at all. So
Oh, interesting.
that would definitely be something interesting to see. I will say the first thing that I said walking out of the movie was, that was really good, and I never want to see this again. Because the entire time I just felt uncomfortable and anxious and worried, and like wanted to correct everything that was happening, but obviously could not. And like that's just how I was feeling. So I was just like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I don't know that, I mean, I would definitely recommend Obsession to people to see, but I don't know that it's something that's going to be on my rotation of movies. But not because it's bad. And I have other movies like this that I can talk about a little later on, that I'm
Yeah,
like, that is great. I'm never seeing that again. But thank you for making it.
that would be an interesting list to compile. Like, try to figure out all the movies that I loved a long time ago, but I would never want to rewatch because there's quite a few, I think. It is a
um,
specific type of movie.
I have a list. I honestly have a
Okay.
list. So we could talk about that later, though, if you want to.
That's funny because when I walked out of the movie, I was like, I can't wait to rewatch it. I think it's mainly because like it was so refreshing to see such a, I don't know, I haven't seen a horror movie like that in a long time that just really surpassed my expectations. I had pretty high expectations going in because I heard it was really good, but it was like it was really, really, really good. So
It was definitely good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I saw it.
we can get into spoilers, I think. There's quite I don't think you can really talk about this without spoilers.
No.
Let's see. I think it's so interesting seeing the reactions to this movie because apparently there's people who don't actually think Bear was the villain.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Eh, Okay. And one day we need to do one of these where we talk about movies where people completely, like the target audience misses the point.
Mhm.
Because there, I have a growing list in my head. And in fact, you said one earlier, um, probably without even meaning to. But y- how, I get that he's our protagonist in the sense that he is our POV character,
Mhm.
but he is so clearly the like he is pure incel, like just
Yes.
just through and through, and he is a coward. He is such a coward. um and in fact, none of the story had to happen if, when she says to him, which I am, Nikki. I was going to say Indy because that's the actress's name,
Yeah.
but when Nikki says, "If you have feelings for me, now would be the time to say it," and he
Mhm.
chickens out, I'm like, nothing in this movie had to happen. Nothing. If you had just actually told her the truth and not been so chicken.
Yeah, that was brilliant setup. I think it was like really in your face, like he's the bad guy. But I don't know. I guess people didn't pick up on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I did enjoy that it basically the movie starts with an awkward moment, but also a laugh when you realize that he's rehearsing, but he's talking to the waitress that he like commandeered her time and was like, sit here.
Yeah, that was
And
such
when
a great scene.
I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I will say Indy Navarrete is phenomenal. Like I've only ever seen her in the show Superman and Lois, and that show just, not that she was either good or bad necessarily. It's just, it's a CW show, you know? There's only so much room for range in those
Yeah,
scripts, you know? And she was fine, but she was just playing a teenage girl, you know, just like generic, whatever. I didn't know she had this in her. And to be able to go from like the fun, confident, flirty Nikki at the beginning to whatever this possessed version of her is, to then also do the moments where Nikki comes through and is like terrified. Like to be able to
mhm.
do all of those things is that is a huge skill. Like she's a great actress and I look so forward to seeing her in more stuff.
Me too. That's the main reason I want to rewatch it is just to like analyze her performance more because it just blew me away. I think I can already see Oscar season and she's probably not going to get a nomination, but we just need to like keep the hype train going. I know everybody's saying that she needs to get awards. I definitely think she should because if you compare it to last year, the the weapons actress,
Mhm.
she literally won the Oscar. I didn't even think she was going to win. And I would say this is a much better performance than that. So it would be
Yeah,
such a stab in the heart if she doesn't get anything.
it is. And I suspect I suspect it could go overlooked simply because there's nothing, like there's no, in weapons, you know, she's got the crazy face and the, you know, all the makeup and the wig and the, you know, whatever. Like I could see it going kind of under the radar because aside from the fact that we know that something has taken her over her, that she can't control, there's nothing like outwardly odd about her. Like she just looks like a girl.
Mhm.
But so I could see it getting lost in the mix because horror is often ignored in award season. But I mean, I don't know. It's been getting in there even more lately.
Yeah, well, I think the saving grace might be I know there's certain scenes that have gone viral, like the date scene and the restaurant.
Hmm.
I know that one has. And
Oh,
so like there's definitely like Oscars clips that maybe could push her forward because you know there always has to be like a clip. So
yes.
yeah, there's definitely plenty of those.
Yes. And I think it'll come down because you have to like self-nominate basically to be put in the pool of options. So I think it'll come down to whether the studio puts her forward or not. So we'll see. And the guy who played Bear, you said his name. I've already forgot. Michael
Uh,
something.
Michael Johnston, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Um, I mean, he obviously didn't have to go as big as she did. His job was a little bit easier, but I thought he did fabulous as well. They all were. No
Because
one was.
it's hard to do that kind of performance, and it seems easier when you're watching it than it actually is.
Yeah, because he had to emote a lot through his, you know, through his face and like how he's breathing and how he's, you know, just mannerisms and things. So he did a great job as well. And they all did. Like considering how low budget this was, you know, you don't always expect, you know, you would almost expect like film school level acting, like people just sort of getting their feet under them or whatever, and they were acting like pros, like they've been at it for forever. Um, and so I really enjoyed it. Now, back to Bear being the bad guy. Several things aside from him obviously being the complete cause of all of it. Some other things that just deeply like, I was just like, bad guy, you're in the wrong, you are evil, is the fact that he knows that she is under the influence of something.
Mhm.
Absolutely. The fact that he has sex with her, like, uh, okay,
Yeah, people
that's
are not willing
assault.
to call that a rape scene, but it is.
It is. It absolutely is. Um, the fact that when he finally decides to call the the number on the back of the One
But
Wish Willow,
that was such a funny scene.
and he's like, he doesn't say I want to reverse it. He says I want to modify it or alter it or
Mm,
um whatever. It's like, oh, so you still want to have her under your control. You just want to change her behaviors.
yeah,
But
she's
you still,
embarrassing me. That's
yeah,
the problem.
yeah. And I want her to act more like, I want her to basically, he wanted her to stop acting so into him and more like the real Nikki would if she was into him, except the real Nikki wasn't into him
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
was never going to be. Um, and then at the end, when he can't even go through with ending his own life to basically free her, when he can't go through with it, I'm like, you coward. Like, you caused all this and you won't do the one thing that will fix it. Like,
Mhm.
coward. And then, of course, he takes the pills and whatever. But um, hopefully, if you're listening to us, you've seen this, or a lot of these statements are going to sound insane. Something that I did not pick up on in the moment because I was so in the moment, but picked up on later was his friend Ian gave him terrible advice about how to get Nikki, how to flirt with Nikki, but it's because he was already in a casual sexual relationship with Nikki and obviously wanted Bear to fail. Um, and I was like, when I realized that that's what happened, I was like, oh, that explains it because he did give him some terrible advice because told him to call her Freaky Nikki. And it's like,
Yeah.
and some other things that were just like really bad advice. And later I was like, oh, it's because he wanted Bear to fail. But also, I'm sure he knew Nikki was not into Bear and that she was going to reject him either way. And the worst part of all of it to me is Nikki, he wants Nikki so badly that he's willing to basically imprison her in her own body to have her when there is another beautiful, kind, sweet, funny woman right there who adores him, who
Mhm.
looks at him with heart eyes. She's right there. Why can't you be into the girl who's actually into you? But he can't even see it until it's basically too late. Um,
That's one of the twists that I really liked. Going back to the Ian thing, I don't actually think that was necessary. Like it could have just been
no.
that Ian's a dumb guy and that would explain it. Um, I don't know how I feel about that, but I do really like the Sarah thing because that kind of really highlights just how clueless Bear is.
Yes. Like she,
Not only can he not see that Nikki isn't interested, but he also can't see who is interested.
yes. And Sarah seems honestly slightly more like has her stuff together a little more even than Nikki because I mean like she's not done with school but she's like applying to schools that she wants to go to and she's making a plan for her future. So I'm like this girl is amazing. Like what is your deal? Yeah.
And also they seem to
Um
have like more chemistry. Like the scene
yes.
of them together, oh my God, the cat scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's
I
talk
don't
about
even
that.
Oh my god. Okay, so first of all, I don't love a dead animal, like a dead pet in a movie. It's not my favorite thing. It's a pretty common trope in horror, obviously, or in even other things, but horror especially. Um, the cat The cat dying at the beginning was sad, but we didn't really know the cat, so like it wasn't, I didn't think much of it after that. I just
Well, and I
thought,
didn't think it was like going to be relevant to the plot. I thought it was just going to be like,
no,
oh, this is just proving, this is just showing us that he's, depressed and he's in a vulnerable place, and this is going to make it's
yeah,
going to make sense why he does what he does. But then it comes back.
yeah. I thought that the whole setup of the cat was to show how lonely and just alone he is, and then also to show us the medicine bottles so that later when he mentioned like he lives in his grandma's house, we're like, oh, so she was really sick or something. Like I didn't think we were going to revisit the cat corpse. And then now I will say when he ate his sandwich, when he ate that sandwich, my husband, because he was in the movie theater with me, says the cat's in the sandwich. And I'm like,
I would have never thought that.
and I but then when he took a bite and didn't react, I was just like, "Oh, I think it's just a normal sandwich. I think the reason we're harping on his lunch is because of the photos. Like, I don't think the sandwich is, why we're harping on the whole lunch thing." But then when they showed it and everything, I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe she put the cat in the sandwich." And I also still don't understand why she put the cat in the sandwich. Like, whatever took her over, and I don't even know what it is because the director saying she was not possessed by a demon. It wasn't anything like that. But whatever took her over, it's like they almost knew what a human should be like, but just not quite. Like an
Yeah.
alien coming to Earth and observing us and then trying to mimic our behavior and was like, people make sandwiches out of meat. I have meat. I have cat. I'll make sandwich. That's
I think it was more than that, though. I think it was because, the whole thing with the demon or whatever is that they're obsessed, in
yeah.
love. And so when Bear shows love to something else, then that's like how they know how to express it. It's like you could, because I'm sure Nikki, or I say Nikki, but not really Nikki, was this close to actually like trying to eat him, like, because that's like the most extreme form of, I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um
So
y-
it kind of makes sense. Like they don't have to,
yeah.
I didn't expect an explanation. Like I like how it was just kind of, you have to figure it out.
Um the yeah, that was super disturbing. All the stuff with the cat was super disturbing. The other thing that was super super disturbing was and I know the director must have shot it and then reversed it, but anytime that Nikki moved so
I didn't
fast and
notice that,
creepy,
but people talk about it a lot, and that's why I want to rewatch it because I didn't really pick up on that.
yeah, there are times when she moves so fast and like awkwardly and
Mhm.
backwards and
Yeah.
I mean it's an easy trick to do, but it's a super unsettling thing to do as well. So that is something that I want to or something that I found super unsettling. Um
Also, the
and
scene where she's like standing, like he leaves, and then she's just standing there, and then when he gets back, she's like she
yes, and
peed, and like there's bugs and stuff, and it's just
yes, it is so yes, so gross, so just awful. And when he sneaks out to go talk to Sarah and the real Nikki talks to him
oh, that was such a good moment.
and she's like just kill me because like she doesn't want to be trapped anymore. And the moment where I knew that he was irredeemable, like up to that point, I'm like, okay, at some point, maybe he will figure out that he is the bad guy here and like try to fix it, maybe. But that moment was when I said to myself, no, he's too far gone, was because she said, just kill me. And he said something like, is it so bad being with me? And it's like he is not even thinking about how she is feeling. He is just thinking that she is saying being with you is repulsive. That is not what she is saying. She is saying being basically a prisoner in my own body and not being able to control myself, I'd rather be dead, is what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
But all he hears is, she doesn't want to be with me. And that is also true, but that is not why she wants to die. And I was just like, oh, he's so far, like he only lives in his own little bubble where he is the center of that little bubble and no one else matters unless only how they can benefit him as a person. He like it's some sort of narcissism going on there, and he is not going to be able to tell that he is the bad guy. He just feels sorry for himself. Yeah, he was so the bad guy in that movie, and I'm pretty sure that was the point.
Yeah.
So people who are not picking up on that need to do a little introspection, I
Well,
think.
yeah, and that's kind of the point of the movie, is that he's portrayed in a way that like he seems normal to people who are
Yeah,
weird, you
yeah,
know?
or like and he's not, if you just encountered him, kind of in your casually, like a casual acquaintance, you wouldn't think anything of him. Like, he seems harmless.
That's what's so scary. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That makes him terrifying because he does seem harmless until you really dig in. And I think that's also how a lot of people end up in relationships with people who, later people are like, how'd you not realize, see the red flags earlier? It's like, well, because they were really good at hiding it. They acted like a totally normal person for a long time. But yeah, there was one other thing. Oh, so I will say the one moment where the movie looked a little, like looked its budget just a little was probably when Nikki is bashing Sarah's head in on the brick. The
Oh,
dummy,
interesting.
yeah, the dummy or whatever, because obviously they did not smash
Yeah.
that poor actress's face in. I would hope not. Um, the dummy they used, I could tell was a dummy, but that was about the only thing. And it wasn't, I mean, it was still a horrifying moment because I was like,
I didn't even
they
really
were,
pick up on that because I was just like too,
yeah,
engrossed in the horror of it all. But I will say, even if that's true, I don't really care because I actually like
yeah.
stuff like that, the low budget horror stuff. Like, I recently watched the original Evil Dead
Oh,
trilogy, and I just love how low budget and crazy that looks. It actually added to my enjoyment.
yeah. And I don't mind a practical effect kind of looking like an effect, versus looking
It's not like
real.
the movie was like taking itself seriously the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
Like I did want to mention that the comedy in this movie is very effective. Like it'll be scary and serious one moment, and then something will happen like the duct tape on the door, and that's just so ridiculous.
Oh my God, the duct tape.
And
Something
and the
about
fact that
that.
he was like that didn't stop him. He was still just trying to get out the door.
He just kept trying to open the door. But the duct tape was unsettling because of, I feel like the reveal of it, the way it was revealed. I was like, oh, oh, okay. Yeah. And her not even processing that what she did was strange. Like, it's just normal because, you know, her brain is not functioning correctly. But yeah, that was a great use of probably the cheapest prop you could use, which is duct tape.
Yeah.
Excellent use of duct tape. Yeah, I don't know that I can sit down and watch this movie in its entirety again, but there are probably some moments I might go revisit.
Mhm.
But I simply don't think I could feel that way for almost 2 hours again, on purpose. So I'm probably not going to see it beginning to end ever again.
Yeah,
But
but
it
now that I'm
was
thinking about it, like every scene was so memorable. We're talking about like every single scene.
I know. Well, because it was. The one thing we
I just
didn't.
thought of another one.
Hmm.
Maybe like my favorite scene. I don't know. But the boys' night, yeah. And that
When
one
she,
actually read as more comedic than horrifying. Like that was kind of the comedy scene, you know.
it would be funny if it wasn't so awkward. Like
Well, yeah, it was like awkward funny. Yeah.
her, uh, her reading that
That was so random.
that story that she wrote or whatever,
I don't
and
know
it
what
was
that
like
was.
incestuous Hansel and Gretel, and what? Yeah. Did you? I don't know if you saw the director's dad wrote that for her
Oh,
because his
that's
dad
funny.
is, I think his dad is like a playwright or something like that. So he got his dad to write that monologue for her to say. And I'm just like, I can't imagine going, like being a young man going to my father and being like, can you write something real creepy and weird and awkward for this girl to say in this scene? Um, and yeah, oh, and
That takes
her
talent.
and her getting up and moving Sarah out of the
Oh my God,
way
that
so he can't
that
kiss Sarah.
that was crazy.
And and just the fact that all the friends are around and like she's acting like an insane person, but that at no point, like until he decides to like try to call the One Wish Willow number or whatever, at no other point does he react in a normal way. You know what I mean? Like he just sort of acts like she's embarrassing him, but not like concerned for her. Like he is not
Yeah.
concerned for her. Other
Hmm.
people seem to be concerned for her because they're like, she's acting insane, something must be wrong. He's just embarrassed that it's happening. Um, yeah, I, yeah, the more we talk about it, the more I think this movie's deep. It has a lot of layers to it. It has a lot of ways to interpret stuff. And it makes me want to go back and relook at some of it, but on the other hand, I don't. Um,
That's why I think people should watch it, is because it actually has like something really important to say.
it
And it
does.
portrays like the incel culture stuff better than anything else I've seen, probably.
Yes, because a lot of stuff is more mm, like heavy-handed
Mm.
and not realistic. This
And there's
is
nothing really
realistic.
realistic about this movie, but somehow it still feels grounded in
Yeah,
that commentary.
it's not realistic. Obviously, there's magic and
Yeah.
whatever. None of that's realistic. But the realistic part is his behavior and his choices and his reactions to things. Um, and when it comes to the ending, I after she broke the One Wish Willow and made him, you know, the boy version of her or whatever, I don't know exactly what she wished for. I expected it to end there with them
Yeah.
both just stuck in whatever.
I thought he was
I
gonna like make himself throw up after that.
I honestly thought that he already had. I was so like caught off guard with her snapping it and him leaving. I was like, "Oh, he threw it up." I didn't realize that he had not. And then when he died and she almost pulled, a Romeo and Juliet,
That's what I was
uh
gonna say. It was very Romeo and Juliet, except it wasn't like consensual.
yeah, and but then when she comes out of it and I'm like, "Oh, what they don't show is the aftermath of there's a very good possibility that she now is going to spend the rest of her life either in prison or in a mental facility if she gets deemed to like uh
Unstable.
yeah, like insane to stand trial because if she starts saying no, I was possessed by a something,
Mhm.
they're going to be like, okay. So she probably is going to have a horrible life for the rest of her life unless she can somehow convince them that she didn't do any of it, which will be hard because her body at least did kill Sarah and Ian. Um, she didn't actually kill Bear, but you know.
The only thing I can think is maybe she can spin it to where Ian did it because he's like dead, so he can't speak for himself.
That or claim Bear did it all
Mhm.
and then he like took his own life at the end.
Because there was the whole love triangle thing. I mean, not really, but kind of. So maybe she could spin it like Ian was jealous or Bear was jealous,
Yeah.
something like that.
Optimistically, she's able to do that, but realistically, I'm just very worried that her life is over. And even if
Yeah,
she doesn't go to jail or whatever, she's going to need therapy, expensive therapy for the rest of her life. Like her life is ruined. Um
oh yeah. It's a horrifying ending.
it
Very,
is.
very brilliant. Because like no one's gonna feel good after after getting through this movie.
No, no. There is no happy ending here.
What was the original ending, actually? I'm curious.
All it said was there was an ending where she does not live. So it
Hmm.
didn't describe exactly how it was going to end, but I assume
That's enough to know it's not as good, because that's the whole point of why the ending's good.
yeah, the ending to me is good because I mean, it's not happy for anybody, but the fact that she will have to live the rest of her life with the repercussions of his choices is so realistic.
Mhm.
Like it's not just that her life ended. It didn't end technically, but he made choices that now impact the rest of her existence.
He was able to take the easy way out, and now she's
Yeah.
left to pick up the pieces.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, in conclusion, life is unfair.
Yes.
I mean, I could go on. The only other thing I was thinking is I love going back to the cinematography. I love there's multiple scenes where Bear's like talking to someone, and then she's in the background just staring at him the whole
Oh yeah.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, like I love how they shoot that.
I also love the little love montage that he does right after I think Bear figures out that she's under the influence of something.
Yeah.
And shot it like a little like
Mhm.
a rom-com
Rom-com.
montage. I was like, I love this because I mean, we know that it's not. We know it's very sinister, but it just,
Yeah.
you know, that tone change also added to the unsettling nature of all of it.
Yeah. I just think it was a perfect balance of horror and comedy.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited for to see what he does next and how he
and
pulls
what
it
she
off.
does next,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
Indy Navarrete. I hope this opens all sorts of doors for her because she did a great job.
Yeah. I also think this movie is going to be really big for pop culture because of the whole One Wish Willow thing. Like, it's
Oh
definitely going to be
God, they're gonna
iconic.
start selling those.
Yeah. I don't
And
feel comfortable buying one of those.
no, no.
I'm good, actually.
I'm very good. I'm a person who will not, never has, never will go near a Ouija board. I don't allow one in my home. And you can add this to the list of things that just will not be near me ever. So, yeah, absolutely not. But you know they're going to be everywhere.
Oh yeah. I've already seen advertisements. Okay. I guess we can talk about Backrooms now. I don't have quite as much to say about this one, but I still think it's worth talking about because it's a very unique movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so this is directed by Kane Parsons, who is also a very new filmmaker. And apparently there's a lot of lore with this where it was this uh like Backrooms as a concept has been around the internet for years, and this is just kind of an interpretation of it. I don't think he was the originator of the idea.
That's what, yeah, I've heard it originated like on Creepypasta,
Yeah.
but then he started making
I didn't
shorts. Yeah,
yeah, I didn't know anything about any of that, so
mm-mm.
I just went into this blind. I had no idea what it was about.
I had seen a preview My
But
husband
the
had
previews are
not.
so vague, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
My husband hadn't even seen a preview. So he went into it literally knowing nothing.
Mhm. The synopsis for this is appropriately vague. It just says a strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom. That's basically the plot.
Um,
Uh, the actors' names, I don't even want to try to pronounce them, but they're both really good. I
uh,
just
Ch- I could say Chiwetel Ejiofor.
okay. And
I
then I
cannot
think it's
pronounce her name.
Renate. I think it's Renate Reinsve. Um,
Mm,
I recognized her from. I haven't seen it, but she was in Sentimental Value. That was one of the
okay.
big Oscar movies last year. And I heard she was really good in that. So I didn't even like realize that was her until after the movie. Um, but yeah, I don't even think we can have a non-spoiler section for this. So
No. I mean,
people just need to go see it. And a lot of people are seeing it. Apparently, there's still packed theaters. This is like the highest grossing A24 movie of all time, apparently,
oh,
which was really a surprise for me.
we saw it Saturday, so that would have been June 6th, and this is not opening weekend. This is the second weekend, and we were in an almost completely full movie theater. And I don't remember the last time I was in a theater so full that we had people on like right next to us all the way down the aisle. Like I don't remember the last time
I'm
that
usually
happened.
alone in a theater, and so yeah, it was like half full, which is crazy for the theater I go to. So I knew, and it was like the second week as well. So yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
it
It's
seems to
outshining the
be.
Star Wars movie, which is crazy.
It is crazy that these horror movies are have taken over the box office compared to like a giant Lucasfilm production, you know.
Regardless what you think of these movies, it's just a really positive thing, I think, and it gives me hope for the future of cinema because it's been looking a little dour lately, but it's nice to know that these low budget movies directed by people no one knows about are able to find an audience like this.
Yes. So did you feel about this movie?
I was just like confused more than anything.
Same. So, there are movies that sometimes I'm watching and I'm like, I fear I am too literal of a person to understand this movie. And this was one of them.
Well, I like a good metaphor. My problem was just that it was too on the nose at times, and that kind of took me out of it. I really liked when they were just like walking around the back rooms, and I know a lot of people thought that was boring. I thought that was the most interesting part of the movie. I didn't like when they opened their mouths. That was my problem. I
Yes,
think the script was very not the best. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It had its moments, but I just think the characterization wasn't very good. I love the actors. The performances had nothing to do with it. It was mainly just I just feel like both of them were underdeveloped, but especially what was her name? Mary? I think so. She was like very underdeveloped for me. So I didn't really
yes,
feel much when they were in danger. I more felt like I was putting myself in that situation, and that's where the horror came from. But I wasn't like fearful for the characters, I guess.
yes. I felt like when they were just walking around and like seeing random weird things, and there's a bird, and there's a strange noise, and here's two chairs glued together for who knows what reason, and why is there a copy of that young dude's t-shirt down here that says like end apartheid or whatever it said, things like that. All of that was deeply unsettling, but it was so strange that it took me out of it a little bit, like the oddness with like the big pirate dude and the people with extra faces and stuff. Like it just took me out of it because then I'm just like looking at it, trying to figure out like when I start trying to figure out in a scene if that's an actor or a prop or if it was CG'd in later and I'm not actually paying attention to what's happening in the scene, it's sort of lost me. So I
Yeah.
think I think it was the design of the back rooms was great. Like it was just a little off to
Mhm.
like it's what offices look like except not. It was just a
Yeah.
little wrong.
I thought it was very creative, like very inspired. And the fact that I heard afterwards that a lot of it was practical, like it
Hmm.
hardly any of it was CGI. And it really did look like the back rooms were endless. Like it didn't look like a set. And
Mm-mm.
so that was very impressive. And that's kind of why I rated this movie 4 stars. It's more of a 3.5 in terms of the script and everything, but I just found it so cool more than anything, and that's what kind of pushed it up for me. And that has a lot to do with the production design. Speaking of Oscars, this is another one where I can tell they're probably going to snub it, but this would be a really cool nomination, I think.
I think this would be a cool nomination for I don't know about like overall like the Oscar, the best film or whatever, but I think like whatever the exact verbiage is, but for like set design
Yeah, it's
and
production design. I
production
don't think it
design.
deserves any other nominations, but that one specifically, I think would be cool.
Yeah, I agree that the characters felt underdeveloped. Like he's obsessed with his, or this is another man who just feels sorry for himself, but is kind of doesn't realize he's kind of the villain in his own story and doesn't
Mhm.
realize it because very clearly he was not a great husband. It seems like he thinks he was, but it seems more like he expected their relationship to be transactional, which is just the death of any relationship. Um, I agree that she was underdeveloped. That I mean, we get to see like her mom was agoraphobic, and of course
Yeah,
that
that didn't really do anything for me though, because it didn't really tie into anything. It was just kind of random.
no, and it also I don't know. I would think that the agoraphobia, like I would think that being stuck in those rooms might make her have some sort of like PTSD panic attack or something, but nothing like that
Didn't
happened.
really happen. No.
Yeah, they didn't tie it back in. And so we we just sort of end ambiguously with it's
The
not clear
ending
what
is
happened.
so it was so unexpected. Like I did not expect it to end right there, and then it was just over, and I left, and it was just such a weird experience.
Yeah, so we know a copy of her is left in the back rooms. Not a very good copy, but a copy. But we don't know what actually happened to her, like the real her. So I don't know. It was unsatisfying of an ending.
Yeah, it really felt like stay tuned for Backrooms too, but like it really could have just been a standalone movie, I think. And I think it should have been left even more ambiguous because that's kind of the what attracted me to the concept in the first place was just the idea itself is horrifying. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to
Hmm.
bring up this company and all this stuff that didn't really have to be there. My main problem with the movie is just really the last 10 minutes. Everything else I think was fine. But again, if they stick the landing, then this would be a really good movie. It's just because of the ending that kind of makes the whole movie suffer. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't, yeah, the whole company thing, but then not fully explaining the company or what they were.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that character, the doctor, was completely undeveloped. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why is he in here? Why are we following him? Like, why did we go see him with his family making popcorn?
That
Like,
was such a random scene. I didn't even remember it until later. And they didn't even have to show that. They could have just
No.
left it because the first scene, which I think is one of the best scenes in the movie, the opening found footage thing, that was
Yes.
really creepy. And they did kind of hint at like a company or something being behind it. They could have just left it there. They didn't even have to have anything else with
So
that.
so I think this movie, I think the better cut of this movie might be a completely found footage version
Mhm.
because
Which I'm usually not a fan of, but I think the found footage stuff in this movie was the best part of it.
yes, and I mean I know it's like at this point kind of overdone and outdated or whatever, but I do too, and I think that by doing that nothing would ever get explained and you wouldn't need it to. We wouldn't necessarily know what happened to the people at the end, and you don't need to.
Mhm.
Um, I Yeah, I think that making it completely found footage would have fixed some like the gripes I have
Yeah.
um significantly because I mean, yeah. Yeah, that opening scene was fabulous and I was just like, "Oh, this is going to be good." And then it just wasn't as good, going forward, unfortunately. So, I mean, it was okay. Um I do fear I'm not smart enough to fully understand all of it, but
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's as smart as it thinks it is because I know they tried to explain it as like this is all about trauma, and I don't know. That just kind of fell flat to me. They didn't really build up to that well enough in the first place, but also
yeah,
it doesn't even need that explanation. You don't have to have a deep explanation for it, you know?
yeah. But I am interested to see what this director writer does
Mhm.
because he
Well, yeah,
definitely
because he's
had,
like 20. That's crazy.
yeah, he definitely has some things to say. And I think a little bit of some more time on this earth and, you know, just a little more life and a little more experience doing this, I think that he could, really make some interesting things. So, I mean, it wasn't a waste of time, but it wasn't fabulous. It's definitely a movie I'm going to keep thinking about though, because
Yeah.
it's strange. So,
Because I do think there is like a horrifying quality to it. They just didn't do the best job at tapping into that. The characters when they went in the back rooms, it never felt like they never exhibited the emotions that I would exhibit if I were them. Because I would be so afraid of just getting lost in there. But the main character, he just kind of like liked it and figured things out and was always able to get back.
yes,
I don't know.
so
That just kind of took me out of it as well.
the first time he goes in there, I'm sitting there going, okay, you made a left turn. Okay, you made a right turn. Okay, you made a right turn. But at no point did it feel like he was clocking any of that. And I'm like, how are you going to get back out of here? Because I would never. I have no directional awareness at all. I would need a string tied to the entrance and tied to me so that I could get myself back. Like, I would have been scared to
Speaking of
leave.
Hansel and Gretel,
Yeah,
they
I
should
would
have
have been,
taken some inspiration.
yes, I would have been scared to leave that first room. Also, I say I would have been scared to leave that first room. I would have gotten back out of there immediately and called the police.
That's what I
Bec-
was saying. I literally looked over to my friend and was like, at this point, why can't he just like, because when he was talking about I'm gonna prove it and you're gonna feel very stupid, and I was just thinking, okay, well, he could just go to the police and prove it.
yes, he could just be like, "Please come see what's happening here."
But at the
Um,
same time, I actually don't think that's much of a flaw because it does kind of make sense for his character because they kind of set him up as the kind of person who would obsess over this and
mhm.
like and he finally has something interesting in his life, so it does kind of make sense, but I don't know. I will say I think my favorite characters were actually I forgot their names, but the people he hired.
Oh, the couple who's like
Yeah, the
his assistant
couple. I actually
manager
really
and
liked
whatever.
them.
Oh my God, I love them.
Yeah.
Like, I want to follow them around, and
And they seemed
obviously,
a lot more realistic. Like they seem like real people.
yes,
So
absolutely. I think they would have been fun to follow around for sure. Um, this movie had vibes of The Descent a little bit. Did you see The Descent?
um,
Okay. Um, it's got a little bit of like found footage to it because they have like a little camera, you know, but it's number one, much more frightening than this, but it's a group who's exploring a cave system. Like they go down into a cave system. So they're what's that called? Spelunking or
yeah.
whatever, cave diving. Um, they're doing that, but it has that same feel in the sense of like you're going along, you don't know which turn is the right turn to make. There's stuff living down here that's creepy and like that sort of a thing. But to me, that's much more horrifying than this was. But it had vibes of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I need to see that. I really liked when it felt like a video game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then when it was trying to be a movie, that took me out of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I feel like maybe it just wasn't ever meant to be a movie. Like maybe that's just not the best medium to explore this concept.
Maybe not, and also the fact that like it started out as little shorts that I
Mhm.
think were more of just exploring the rooms.
Yeah, like the opening probably.
Yeah, that I don't know, forcing a story like a feature length story into it maybe was just overkill.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I doubt I'll revisit this one, but for very different reasons than Obsession.
Yeah. A couple other things. I really like we talked about the production design of the back rooms, but I also really liked the one scene where he went to the couple's door.
Hmm.
Um, that like neighborhood or whatever, it looked so artificial almost,
Yes.
but in a good way. I really liked how it looked.
Yes, it had a completely different look to anything else in the movie. And in fact, I was like, where is he even going? Until like he knocked on the door and they
Yeah.
came to the door or
Well,
whatever.
kind of everything outside the back rooms has that feel though. Like it made me feel like it was a set, and that kind of made me like the movie more because it felt like a different world almost, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yes, it definitely had that feel to it. It felt artificial. Also, we didn't even touch on the fact that this is set in 1990.
I didn't even pick up on that. I feel so stupid, but it
Yeah,
makes
well,
sense.
I picked up on it fairly early because of a few things. The clothes, the car he's driving, the fact that in the opening, the technology, like the it's like a there's like a cassette player and a whatever. I was like, oh, maybe this, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it's set in the past, maybe it's not. But then they actually showed when they showed one of the something, it actually had the date across the top and it was like January something 1990. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I think the reason I didn't notice is because, again, going back to it just felt like a different universe. And so I was
Hmm.
just like, oh, this is just how it is in that universe. I didn't even think about
Yeah.
it being a period piece.
Yeah. Now that, did you ever see the movie It Follows?
Oh, I really want to see that.
Okay. It Follows, just so you know, um, takes place in a different kind of timeline than ours. So the technologies are uh, anachronistic. Um, and I spent that entire movie going, when does this take place? Because they've got this tech, but they don't have this tech. But that seems to be made up tech. But like, but they're dressed like this time period. But, and that's not the point of the movie. But that's what I was obsessed over because I couldn't pinpoint when it was supposed to be happening. So, That yeah. Now this I was happy to have a date so that I could be like, okay, this is when this is happening.
Mhm. Um, and then I guess the other stuff to talk about is towards the end. I didn't hate everything in the ending. It was mainly just the very end. I really did enjoy the chase scene, even though it was kind of goofy because of the pirate guy.
Hmm.
I especially liked the that staircase. That oh my God, my heart like sank. That was such a scary moment when she was like going
Oh,
up that staircase, but there was an abyss below her.
oh, oh, I would have just had to die. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
climbing that
can't believe she
staircase.
went through with that. That was pretty insane.
Yes, I no. Mm-mm. No, no. There's so many moments where I would have died because I would have fallen, tripped, fallen in a hole, whatever. Like there's too much going on. There's too many like a video game. There's too many traps. Um,
Yeah. And then also although I don't like the dialogue in the scene where what's his name?
I don't even remember.
Clark. Yeah, that's right.
Clark.
When Clark kind of goes crazy and Mary is having to like role play. I do like how they tie back in the role play again. That was
Hmm.
that was pretty fun. But I didn't love everything about that scene. I did like the design of those weird people. That was pretty cool. And I also really liked when he like dug into that guy's
Oh,
um
mm-mm. His
yeah,
stomach.
like it looked like porridge or something almost. And then he was like the best thing about it is you can eat this. And I wanted them to actually go further with that. I wanted him to like force her to eat that,
Yeah.
like really
Oh,
lean into the craziness.
to me it looked more like cotton candy or
Yeah, it was
something.
like
Like,
fuzzy, but it almost had a more solid consistency. It was weird.
yeah, it was more solid than cotton candy, but still kind of like it looked like something that would be sticky if you touched it and
Mhm.
like sugary and grainy. Oh, that grossed me out so bad. And him with having like multiple noses, multiple sets of eyes, all of that just weirded me out. Like
Mhm.
I just mm-mm. Also, they allegedly don't feel, but she does something to the pirate that made it seem like he could feel. And I can't remember what it was now. But I was like, that doesn't quite align with the world you've set up here. Um al-
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, they never explained the seagull, but the seagull obviously got in a different way because his entrance was in the basement of a furniture store. There would not have been a seagull in there. So the seagull obviously got in through a different entrance, but it sounds like there's entrances popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
So I am wondering if some of this, like you were saying, is a setup for a sequel.
Yeah, I almost liked it more when it was just that one entrance. Like it's, I just thought that was funny. That like in the most unassuming place, that's the entrance.
Yeah, I did I also liked the I did like the fact that the thing that made him even become aware of the existence of the back rooms was the fact that the power bill was too high. Because I'm like, that is a realistic thing that a business owner
Yeah.
like they'd be wanting to keep their costs as low as possible. Also, like he never has a customer the entire time we're following this movie, so I don't know how he's paying the bills anyway. But um, it is realistic for him to be like, why is my power bill so high?
Mhm.
When we're not turning the power on at night. And
I think that was actually that reminds me of that was another thing that could have made the movie even better is because I thought they were going somewhere with the whole like weird light thing where it was just turning on and off by itself. And I thought what they were gonna do with that is like in the back rooms to make it even scarier, sometimes the lights would go off, you know.
yeah, yeah, that would have
That
been
never happened.
horrifying.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done something with Mary and that. Like if she was back there and suddenly she's in rooms that she can't escape in the dark.
Hmm.
That would have been horrifying, because especially as someone who is like should be traumatized by her agoraphobic mother, even though they didn't really play it that way, but should be. You would think that she would be like freaking out. But yes, yeah, they didn't really come back to that at all.
I don't know. Overall, I sound like I didn't like this movie. I really did like it, but it was mainly just more so the concept and the found footage stuff especially was really effective.
Yeah, I don't know if I liked it, honestly. I really don't. Um, I think it's worth seeing if you're into weird uh metaphorical horror. I think it's worth seeing, but and make up your own mind, but it's not something I'm going to go back to.
No, I'll probably never see it again, but it was a fun time. It did, when I left the theater, it did make me feel weird, like in a good way, just because I had never thought about something like that happening. So
Um,
it almost made me afraid to like go back to my house.
I don't know, it almost felt like the the worst possible version of the Chronicles of Narnia with the wardrobe. Like,
Mhm.
instead of it being a fun place where you've got, you know, all these talking animals and whatever and snow and, all that, you've got just a lifeless office building, like office space, room after room after room.
It reminded me a lot of, have you seen Severance?
No, but I've heard the
Okay, well,
comparison made.
I mean, it's a lot better, but the concept of like the office buildings being so bare and never ending, that's definitely in Severance as well.
Oh boy. Well, then
Mhm.
maybe I
But it's
don't
it's
want
like
to
a
see
better
Severance.
execution for sure.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about Severance, but I've not gotten to see it yet.
I would definitely recommend it. It's really good. Okay, well, I guess that's all I have to say about Backrooms. I would still recommend seeing it. It's kind of like a cultural moment more than anything. You want to get to the our horror movie list? I'm excited for this. I think you've seen a lot more than me, so I'm excited to get some recommendations.
So I do want to, before we get into like movies we love and things like that, I do just want to give some recommendations for if you loved the feeling of obsession, like
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
being deeply unsettled. um, I have some recommendations. So I I'm not even sure I like these movies, but the Terrifier movies are deeply unsettling. Like, they are low budget, and like when I say low budget, I mean like made for $1, and like it shows. The scripts are terrible, the acting horrendous, but so unsettling. So, like I said, I don't even think I like those movies. I'm not sure, but they are definitely movies that I was like, never seeing that again because I'm so unsettled by them. Another movie that I actually really like, but cannot really bring myself to watch beginning to end again. Maybe I will one day. But it just made me want to crawl out of my own skin. And that's sort of how Obsession made me feel, is Hereditary.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I'll be talking about
Hereditary,
this one.
yeah. Um, some other movies, specifically certain scenes and certain facial expressions that Indy would make. When she was like possessed version of Nikki. If you really loved her completely unsettling facial expressions, Smile and Smile 2, I would recommend.
Hmm.
Not for any other reason. They're totally different than this, but another movie. Actually, I'm going to hold off on talking about the next one. I've already mentioned this one, but It Follows felt it more like Backrooms than Obsession, I would say, but it has a an ending that is, you don't necessarily, it's not a happy ending necessarily. It's a strange ending, but it's I don't know. I don't want to give anything away about it, but the ending, the way that I felt at the end of Obsession is the way that I felt at the end of It Follows. And
That's a
then
that's making me want to watch it even more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um and then another one that was like good, but I was intense the whole time and will probably never watch again is the movie Parasite.
Ooh. See, I guess it kind of is a horror movie, but that I didn't even think about that one.
Oh, I
I mean,
didn't
that's
even
one
think
that's
about it
one of my
being
favorite movies, but I never think of it as a horror movie. But yeah, it kind of
I
is.
it yeah, I don't even it's not even necessarily that it's horror, it's more just the feeling
Yeah, yeah,
that stayed with me after. Because it's been, I mean, I only saw it once and it's been
yeah. Mhm.
years, but the feeling has stayed with me of like,
Yes.
what, like, because you think the movie's one thing for a long time
Mhm.
and then it changes directions.
That scene where it changes the tone is one of the
You're
most
like,
effective
yes,
horrifying moments in a movie. Like that is amazing for sure.
yes. Okay, so those are my movies that, like I said, they're not even necessarily, I don't even know if they're recommendations. I don't know what they are, but if you enjoyed the feeling of
Mhm.
Obsession, I think these would be good ones. And it, like I said, I was saying earlier, The Descent feels a little like Backrooms in the sense of just like endless caves and everything that is so unsettling. But yeah,
Okay.
so that's the end of that.
No, I think that's important. I didn't really have any examples that I just haven't really seen much that I can compare to Obsession, which is a good thing, I guess, because it really uh, surprised me. Okay, so I guess we'll start with just like the horror movies that we think are the best. Maybe not even so much so like subjectively, of course, but also objectively in a sense as well. Like these are the kind of Mount Rushmore horror movies.
So, uh, I will say that I made my list. Obviously, it's very subjective. Um, but these are movies that are like personally important to me in some way. Like they stick with me. I revisit them or I don't for some in some cases for reasons. But somehow had a big impact on me personally.
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, the caveat here is I've not seen a lot of classic horror.
Okay, well,
So
I'll take care of that.
so my list is going to be almost entirely from like my lifetime, except for one, which I'll get to.
Yeah.
And I'm in no particular order. I just wrote things down.
I guess the vibe I'm going for here is yes, it's a subjective list, but also it's not like a guilty pleasure kind of
Oh
thing.
no.
It's more like you can make a good argument why this is really good, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh no, these are all like good movies.
Okay, yeah,
But I
then
also
perfect.
just
Then we'll probably have a similar list.
yeah, they just mean something to me.
Mhm.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So I'll start. I actually have them in chronological order, so I'm going to start with the earliest one, which is a silent movie. So we're going way
Oh,
back. Yeah, the original Nosferatu.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so I actually haven't seen the other ones, but I heard they're really good as well. But I just really think this holds up. Like, even if you are not used to silent films, I think the imagery in this movie is really good, and the makeup is obviously like dated in a way, but I still think it's interesting enough to uh it's very iconic and it's not so much scary, but it's just interesting to look at. So I actually think it holds up better than most silent films probably. And I don't know, it's just I haven't seen it in a while. I watched it I think like last Halloween probably, but it really made an impression even though it was silent. So I know people just don't watch silent movies anymore, but it's probably one of the most accessible ones. Um, And then so I've seen most of the old Universal monster movies, like your Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And they're all very good, but if I were to choose one, I would have to go with Bride of Frankenstein, which is the sequel to the original Frankenstein. And this one is just like the perfect old Hollywood horror movie. It takes everything great from the first one and just elevates it. What I love about the first one is it has this very obviously German expressionist style, um, but it's American, so it's this very weird blend of like influences. And so the look of it is really cool, and then obviously it's very iconic. It has the "It's alive," that like all that stuff. And but I think that Bride of Frankenstein, it really humanizes the monster, whereas the first one's just kind of the origin story. And there's these really great scenes where he's like in the countryside interacting with the town folk, and I just really love that stuff. Like I like the more wholesome stuff about this movie more so than the horror aspects. And then of course like the bride being in it as well is really cool, and the ending is really great with the bride and Frankenstein's monster meeting and everything. So if you were to watch any of these really old ones, I would choose that one. But I also love The Invisible Man is a really good one, which isn't even really a horror movie. It more made me laugh because it's just kind of a funny concept. But the effects in that one are really cool, I have to say. Okay, and then flashing forward a few decades now, I have to go with Psycho. This is
I have yet to see
Are you
anything you've named. I have
serious?
yet to see Psycho. I know a lot about Psycho. I've just never sat down and watched it. Like I know that like you think you're following one story
Yeah.
and then there's a big change, and I know all the stuff about the Bateses and whatever, and I also know the history of like that's how we ended up with movie times, like time slots of movies, because pre-Psycho you never knew when a movie was playing. You just walked in and sat down and you watched the movie. And then if you had missed the beginning because you walked in at the 37-minute mark, you just stayed until it made it back through. And then once you were done watching, you just left.
Oh,
But Psycho, he went, no, you have to watch it from the beginning.
yeah.
So they had
Oh,
to actually
definitely.
post movie time start, like start times, and have people show up at the start time, and
Oh,
that's why we
wow.
have that now. So I know random things about Psycho. I've just never
Mhm.
sat down and watched it.
Yeah, this is a very personal one for me. I actually wrote an essay on it in high school because of
I
how
thought you were
much
going to
I.
say I have also murdered my mom or
Yes,
whatever.
yes. Not that personal. But yeah, I wrote a because I'm a huge Hitchcock fan. He's probably my favorite director. And I wrote a paper on Vertigo and Psycho, their cinematography, because one is in color and one is in black and white. And so I kind of
Oh.
I talked about like how he used different techniques for each one. And but yeah, even I didn't even know about what you said, but this movie was extremely influential and groundbreaking because I mean, for one, there's like the first scene of a woman like taking her clothes off that had never been done in a movie before. Well,
Mhm.
there's like a implied sex scene like that was never really done. And then obviously like the gore and
Mhm.
the violence in this movie, even though not much is even really shown, it had just never really been depicted in that way before. This is also a fun fact. This is the first movie to show like a toilet in a
Mhm.
movie. Yeah, that's very interesting.
They were real weird about things during was this the time of the
This was
Hays
pre-code.
Code,
This
or
was yeah, this was during the code, yeah.
okay, yeah.
Which
They
makes it
were real
even
weird
more
about
insane because
stuff.
I swear it doesn't fit the code, but somehow it was made anyway.
I think we were inching towards the code basically being ignored. for a while. Like it
Mhm.
just slowly, it's not that it went away, it's that people were just ignoring
Just
it and
stop
nothing was
caring.
happening. And then you get the 70s where they were just like, it was a free for all. And then they were like, maybe we should rein it back in a little. Like, maybe we went too far. Um,
I don't know, because the 70s I think is the best decade for film. Like that's when the directors had all that freedom and they did really interesting stuff with it.
yes. Um, I have only seen two Hitchcock films, which are Strangers on a Train and Rope.
Those are both two of my favorites. Yeah.
Rope, so good. I didn't love
Mhm.
Strangers on the Train. I didn't hate it either. It was good.
Pride
Um,
Month.
what?
Pride Month.
Oh,
Both of those
yes.
movies are very like homoerotic.
So the funny thing about Rope is I had heard a little bit about it, and so I wanted to watch it. And then partway through, I said, wow, they really are like implying that these two are a couple. And my husband goes, oh, I thought they were married. And I was like, they they couldn't have been back then, first of all.
Mhm.
And they certainly couldn't have said that in a movie back then, but I think it is the implication.
Oh, it
He's like,
definitely
"Oh,
is.
he didn't even think it was subtext. He thought it was just like he thought it was just in the story that they were a
Yeah.
married couple." And it almost is. Um
Mhm. I also
yeah,
think the
no.
actors had a lot to do with it because they were also gay, and
Yes.
so like they really played into it.
And the one I still to this day, like the one who is completely unbothered by everything that's going on and is just like having the time of his life. And then the other one is losing his mind as the movie goes on. I'm just like, it plays like a comedy.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that's a good movie.
that's a really
Um,
good one.
but
I've
that's
been
the
meaning to rewatch
only
that.
but it's not even close to horror, really. It's yeah. But
No,
it's still unsettling. Like you're still like watching it and
yeah,
like have
it's still
anxiety.
suspenseful. All of his movies
Yes.
have that quality. I would
Yes.
say Psycho and The Birds are like his only pure horror movies.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, Psycho is it's only my third favorite Hitchcock movie, but that goes to show how good he is because yeah, and I've seen probably like 25 of his movies.
Dear Lord.
I've seen quite a few, which is not even half. Like he made a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But for you, I would definitely recommend you should even more than Psycho, I would recommend Rear Window and Vertigo. Those are my two favorites.
Okay. So funny thing, this is a movie you may not have even seen because this was when I was a teenager, but this movie came out when I was a teenager called Disturbia. And Shia LaBeouf is in it, but it's basically a remake of Rear Window, which I've never seen. So in
Oh
that
wow.
movie, Shia LaBeouf is on house arrest because he punches his teacher in the face for reasons. There's reasons, but he's a teenager, it's summer, he's on house arrest and he becomes obsessed with his neighbor who he believes is a murderer, like a serial
Mhm.
killer, and everyone else is like you're being insane. Like you're just like
Yeah.
stir crazy. He's not a murderer. He's just a normal, nice man, whatever. And, it goes on. But apparently it's sort of a redo kind of Rear Window. So I'm like, I need to go see Rear Window. Because
You
doesn't
do.
it isn't
It,
it like he has a broken leg so he can't like get out the house?
mhm.
And then he
It's Jimmy
thinks his
Stewart as
he,
well, and he's my favorite actor of all time. I think he's just wonderful.
awesome. I'm
Um,
getting so many great recommendations here of things I
yes,
need to go
definitely watch
watch.
that one, and it also has Grace Kelly, who is like
An
icon.
icon. Yeah.
Yes, but that is probably it probably holds up better than any of his other movies because first of all, it's shot really cool where it's entirely from his perspective inside his apartment. So it's the whole plot is about what's going on across the street, like across the complex,
Hmm.
but you only see like the view from within his apartment.
Yeah.
And so you're really like in his perspective, which is really cool. Even when like people go outside and he gets other people to do stuff for him, you only see like the very um zoomed out view of everything going on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the ending is one of the great movie endings. It's really great. I would highly recommend that. And then Vertigo is my favorite. Vertigo is my second favorite movie of all time. I was gonna say favorite, but yeah. Um, and so the reason why I wrote the essay was really because I wanted to talk about Vertigo, but I also wanted to
Oh,
pair it with Psycho. Um, but Vertigo is the most beautifully shot movie I've ever seen. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And the plot is crazy. It's very similar to Parasite, actually, where halfway through it like turns into a different movie. So if you're
hmm.
into that kind of thing, then definitely check it out.
I've got to go back and watch some more Hitchcock.
There's so many good ones. I mean, I could go on and on. But back to Psycho. Um, yeah, I mean, everyone talks about the shower scene, which is incredible. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Or,
Yeah, or
yeah.
parts of it, yeah.
I think that's probably the best edited scene ever. Like it's kind of insane how it doesn't really show anything, but it's one of the most horrifying scenes to this day. Like it really holds up. And yeah, I mean Norman Bates is a great character. People don't talk enough about how great the actor is, though. He didn't even get like any award recognition or anything. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, back then, people thought Psycho was this. It wasn't good enough for the Oscars because it was too provocative and,
Mm-hmm.
but um, yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I mean, what more can be said? It's been analyzed to death. Um, the next one I'm really excited to talk about though, because this was one of the ones I rewatched the other day because I wanted to be fresh when I talked about it. Because I watched this last year and it blew me away. This might be my favorite horror movie of all time, and it's Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
Have you
I've
seen
never
this?
seen it. I do know what the plot is.
Okay.
I do know that this movie came out. Was it pre Roe v. Wade?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I know pretty much everything about the movie without having seen it.
Mhm. This is the first in the, I guess, unofficial trilogy, the unholy trinity of Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and The Omen. Those kind of go together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the best one out of the three. I've seen all three of them. And this really reminds me of Obsession, actually. It's very similar, but it's from the woman's perspective
Mm-hmm.
instead of the man's. And like I said in my review, I just think this is probably the best depiction of a woman like losing her agency, and it is just so horrifying to watch. Um, it's not like this movie has jump scares or anything. It's just the whole concept and the way that as the movie goes on, it just gets more and more hopeless. There's something so cynical about this movie and the way it ends as well. Let's just say it's not a happy ending. So it really just kind of it's a tough watch, but I think you should at least watch it once because it's masterful.
I need to go watch that. And I will say I started reading like an advanced copy of a book that I never finished, and I need to get like a physical copy and read the actual book called Scream with Me, and it is about basically uh I don't even know how to describe it. Okay, the subtitle title is Horror Films and the Rise of American Feminism from 1968 to 1980, and she talks about um Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Shining, other movies that came out and like basically what what those movies were trying to say about uh women's experience in America at the time. And I read the part about Rosemary's Baby, but I never got to finish the whole book. And now it's expired because it was like an ebook advanced thing. It had an expiration date. I need to go back and finish that. But if you really like movies like that, a more recent one that I could recommend, it's not fabulous, but it has that feeling of a woman losing her agency, is Immaculate. Um,
Okay.
it's from either last year or the year before. It's got Sydney Sweeney in it. Um,
Okay.
and she is a nun who becomes pregnant,
Mm,
and there's stuff happening.
yeah.
Um,
It's actually very similar, I guess, because it's about a baby as well. The whole movie is like her pregnancy.
yep,
So
yep.
yeah.
Um, this one is a little slightly different of a story, but similar. Yeah, I could recommend that as a
Along with
good.
Psycho, this came out in the 60s as well. This is
Hmm.
so ahead of its time. It's absolutely shocking how well this holds up and how relevant it still is. And how, because I guess this kind of was after the code because this was the late 60s, but I'm still surprised at how like on point the commentary was, in a time when women didn't have the rights they do today. So it's very good. And then the other one, the next one is also part of that trilogy, The Exorcist. This is kind of an obvious one, but I definitely think it's not overrated. This is truly one of the best horror movies. Um, and I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't have fresh thoughts, but it's probably the best like religious horror movie where
Hmm.
it's not like in your face like you need to believe in God kind of thing, you know. It's just more creepy and unsettling. Um and it's probably the most influential horror movie of all time, I would say. Um I think
I've
when it came out, it was truly groundbreaking. I think it broke like box office records. Like everyone went to see this, and it was so controversial.
Yeah, this is another movie that I'm very aware of and have never sat down and watched. When I say I haven't watched old horror, I mean
You
I
really
haven't.
haven't.
I really haven't. I haven't watched The Exorcist. I haven't watched Rosemary's Baby.
Wow.
Um, yeah.
Well, the next one I know you haven't seen because we talked about it. This is if Rosemary's Baby isn't my favorite, then this is my favorite. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one.
Really?
This is the most visceral experience I've had watching a movie. This is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, and I watch it every year. I don't know what's wrong with me, but this is like the one that I always revisit.
Oh my goodness.
There is something it's super low budget, it's super amateur, the acting is terrible, it's like all those things, but the way it's shot and the sound, those pairings is just so effective. There's this you've probably seen the ending shot. It's iconic, like him holding up the chainsaw and it's like the sunset or whatever. That's
I
like one of the
think
most
so.
beautiful images I've ever seen, and it's on like this really shitty camera. Like it's crazy how beautiful this film looks at times when it's like so horrifying. And then especially towards the end, it just gets so uncomfortable how it's basically the last half of this movie is just her running away from this psycho. And it's like it's not one shot, but it's like it doesn't skip through time or anything. It's like the whole her running the whole time, and just the screams are so visceral, and it kind of reminds me of Obsession, how Nikki is just like when she yells, it's like it breaks the speakers, and they kept that in.
Hmm.
They didn't try to like tone it down, which I really appreciated. It's very much like that, where it's like very unfiltered, and it's like almost too real. It feels more like a documentary. And so I just think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the most effective slasher of all time, from what
I
I've
really
seen.
do have to sit down and watch this because I've watched some of, like I was naming the other like classic slashers I've seen. This is probably the one I'm missing of like I haven't seen like all the sequels to like the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens and whatever, but I've at least seen the first. I need to at least go back and watch this original one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ones you have to watch is this and Halloween. Those are kind of the two
Yes.
biggest ones. But I think this is better than Halloween, even though they're very similar because they're both very low budget and everything. But I don't know. There's just something about the feeling you get watching this movie that I've never felt before. So, um, the next one I have is Jaws. I'm sure you've seen this.
Yes.
Okay.
once,
We,
but I
we got
have
one to
seen
see.
Jaws. The
Yeah.
scene on the scene with his little monologue on the boat.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. This I don't even think so much as being a horror movie, but it technically is. I just think of it as a thriller. But I mean, it's undeniable. Like this, along with The Exorcist, are just like so iconic, so influential. And this, I think, holds up as maybe Spielberg's best film, even though this is like one of his earliest films, where you could argue he was still trying to figure out how to be a director. But I don't know, this holds up remarkably well. And of course, it has the one of the best scores. It's super simple, but it's so effective. The da da.
and it's so
Yeah.
memorable. Like
Yeah.
you hear it and you see Jaws. There's like
Mhm.
you see a shark in your head.
What I might do, I always have the 2001 music at the beginning of this podcast. I might actually
Mhm.
change it to that for this episode.
Yes, make it
I'm
the
a,
Jaws music.
yeah, I'm actually gonna do that because it's very easy to play on the piano, so why not? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say. I just think this is fantastic. And then The Shining is another kind of obvious one. This is another like in my top three, you know. Uh, my favorite director is Stanley Kubrick, so of course I love this movie.
Did you
But
read the
I just
book?
no, I haven't. But I heard it's a lot different.
This is the one and only Stephen King I have read so far in my life, and I
I know
watched the
Stephen King
movie.
hated this movie.
Um, I have to say, having read the book, it's hard to like the movie
Really?
because the book does something very different with Wendy, first of all. And I always get drawn to the female characters. She is very strong in the book. Like she does not take any shit from him. And they made her kind of more docile in the movie, I feel like. Um,
Yeah.
they changed some
That has a
other
lot to do
things.
with the behind the scenes, like you hear about like how she was
Mm-hmm.
mistreated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's some other things. I don't want to go too spoilery, but as a movie, if I had just seen it as a movie, probably would have loved it. But I had the book in my head seeing it.
Mhm.
But no,
Yeah.
you can't deny Jack Nicholson can be crazy like
Oh
no
my
one else
God.
can be
The first
crazy.
time I saw it, I was like, oh, he's really overacting. This is horrible. But then it's quite the opposite. It's amazing how it is technically overacting, but he does it so well, and it's like one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. Like no one else could have done what he did, you know?
No, yeah, he does a really good job, and um, and no one can ever forget those little creepy twins. Like
No.
it's like Danny, come play with us. And oh, the big wheel shots where it's like you're Danny on the big wheel going like riding around on the, through the hotel. It's just like so creepy to be looking at this giant hotel from the perspective of a child.
Mhm. That actually, that's another fun fact I know about is Kubrick actually basically popularized, I don't know if he invented, but he popularized the use of handheld in this movie because that the scene you're talking about is like handheld, and
Oh,
that really wasn't a way that people filmed stuff until the 80s, basically.
well, I'm sure they had to wait for film cameras to get small enough to carry around also.
Yeah. But the way this film is shot is like unbelievable. It's probably yeah, I can't think of another horror movie that has better cinematography. So yeah, this is one of the ones along with like Hereditary that just freaks me out the most. I watch it every year, but I'm always like if any movie were to give me nightmares, it's one like this because it's just so creepy.
Yeah, Hereditary is another one that well, I had it in my list, but I've never revisited it, and I'm not sure I can.
You can talk about that one. I'm just going to mention one more because the rest of them are newer and you're probably going to touch on them anyway. So, the last one I wanted to mention was Evil Dead 2. So, like I said, I watched the Evil Dead trilogy, but this is by far the best one, I think. Because really what it is, it's interesting. The original was super low budget and everything, and the director wasn't really able to do everything he wanted to. And so Evil Dead 2 is basically the higher budget reboot of the first movie. So it has like the same plot as the first movie, but it's just so much better. Like the effects are a lot better and the script is a lot better. Like it's a lot more fleshed out. So I just think like the original is iconic, but this one is like the more perfected version of it. So I have to go with this one. But I just love these movies. Like I was saying with Obsession, like the that scene in the car. I love
Yes.
how outlandish the effects are in this. And I mean, they're obviously a lot more amateur than that, but especially in the first movie, the end of the first movie, there's this really practical effect that literally looks like stop motion or something. Like it's so there's no way you could think it's real at all, but it's so like creative, and I really had to respect it. So if you really like practical effects, then this whole trilogy is full of those. And I just love the guy, hold on, what's his name? Bruce Campbell, who plays Ash. Ash is like my favorite final girl, and he's not even a girl. He's
No,
like my favorite one.
Final Girl is an ungendered
Exactly.
term.
Yes.
There's no such
Mhm.
thing as a final boy. Like you are, if you're the final person, you're the final
Mhm.
girl.
Yeah. He's my favorite final girl. So yeah.
Oh, well, I've yet to I say I was about to say something that's not true. I have seen some Evil Deads, but more recent Evil Deads.
And I haven't
Um,
seen those. I do want to see those because there's a new one coming out this year.
yeah, Evil Dead Rise was, I mean, super gross, but not bad. Um,
Mhm. I think we should just go into talking about your list now.
okay, so my uh, 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 with the caveat, of course, understanding that basically anything before the 1970s I've not seen. Um, this is the list of movies that I love personally and think are fabulous horror movies. To talk about one that you brought up briefly, I guess to finish out the trilogy, I put The Omen on here.
Interesting.
I s- I saw this movie when I was too young to be watching this movie, honestly, but I watched this movie with my family a lot. Um, I love a good demon haunting, like Catholic mythology.
Mhm.
I love a story like that.
Well,
This
you'll
one,
like The Exorcist then.
yeah, this one has the most haunting soundtrack I've ever heard in my entire life.
Okay, I agree. That's my favorite part of the movie is the score for sure.
Yes, the weird chanting in, I don't know, Latin or something. The it's just horrifying. And the fact that there's not even necessarily an antagonist because like, the antagonist is a 5-year-old little boy, but he also doesn't know what's going on in the movie. Um it's just so creepy. And then you've got Gregory Peck, who is just like number one in terms of, you know, men who died long before I was an adult. He is one of the most attractive of them. Like he just acts like he just is so captivating. And
Mhm.
for him to very much take this, what was supposed to, what is sort of a kind of schlocky almost horror movie, and he took it very seriously. Like he just makes the movie. Um, and also, I don't know what this says about my psyche, but as a young teenage girl, I thought that The Omen 2, Damien, The Omen 2, was really good. It's not a good movie, but I loved it because I thought the little boy who played Damien was cute. Even though in reality he's a good like 20, 30 years older than me or something, but I was like, he is so cute. And later I'm like, he's the Antichrist. Maybe I shouldn't think the Antichrist is cute, but I definitely was thinking he was cute. But that was me at like 13.
Yeah.
But I've watched this so many times. I love this movie.
I've seen it probably
Um,
3 times. I really like it.
Oh,
But I do prefer the other two in the trilogy. It's still really good though.
yeah, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it. I've even seen well, I've seen this one countless times. I've seen two a ton. Three I saw once or twice. It's not very good. And then I saw the made for TV fourth movie, starring uh Jack Ritter, John Ritter, whichever one's the older one who has passed away. But starring him, and it was almost like a Lifetime movie, but horror. So bad. But I watched it because I was like, this is The Omen. I gotta watch it. Um, so what is probably okay, no, I'm gonna save that one for the end. Never mind. Um, okay, so
Wait,
um,
before you move on though,
okay.
um, if you like Gregory Peck, then I highly recommend. There's a Hitchcock movie called Spellbound. It's pretty
Oh,
underrated, but he's in it with Ingrid Bergman, who I also love, and it's like the peak of his attractiveness. So
oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, I may have to watch that. Um, yeah, I may have to watch that then.
yeah, and it's really cool because it's like it's inspired by the Salvador Dali like weird paintings. There's like this weird dream scene in the middle of it, and the whole movie is about like the subconscious and everything. So it's a really cool movie.
Awesome. Okay, well, that just adds to the list of things I just need to go through Hitchcock's
You do. They're all great.
filmography. Okay, so a movie that scared the daylights out of me is so good, is so simple, and yet is horrifying, is the only movie that has ever truly horrified my husband. And I've watched countless horror movies with this man, is The Strangers. Um, so this is from 2000, I want to say like 2009-ish. And
Yeah, 2008. Oh, I love Liv
and
Tyler.
yes, so simple. They're just in a house being terrorized by people. What makes it horrifying is it could happen. It's just so
Mhm.
simple. And I've watched it a few times now. And it, but I have to go a good like decade before I watch it again or close to it. And because I have to forget how horrifying it is and then watch it again and then experience it again and then go, oh, I shouldn't have watched that again. Um, a
Oh
movie.
wow. This reminds me so much of another movie. I hate to be recommending so many things. But this was actually going to be on my underrated list, but I'll talk about it now. It's called Knock at the Cabin.
Ooh.
It's a newer Shyamalan film,
Oh,
and it literally has like a very similar plot where these intruders like uh trap
okay.
these people in their house.
Okay. I saw that. It's nothing like that, I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah. But it The Strangers is so good but so horrifying. An extremely recent movie that we probably don't need to talk about a lot because I it's been everywhere is Sinners.
Oh yes, I've talked about
I
that like on every episode of this because it's
Yeah.
so good.
So we don't have to go into detail about that, but it's just so good. And it is another movie that's like halfway through it becomes something different.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I could have just kept watching the non-horror version, but the horror
Yeah, I
version
really
is also
wish that
amazing.
the trailer didn't give it away because it really does seem like a completely different movie in the first half. And so it would
It
have been
does.
really cool if I didn't know that it was going to transform into
Yeah.
something.
Okay, I only have two more. So, I am obsessed with the Scream franchise.
Me too.
And in particular, numbers 1 and 4
I can't
are,
believe I didn't put one on my list because that's one of my favorites. I
yeah,
don't know why that's not on my
Scream.
list.
Scream is iconic. I did
Mhm.
not see them till college. Of course, I was like 5 when the first one came out, so I couldn't have seen it then anyway. Not without causing a lot of therapy bills, but and I wouldn't have understood it. But Stu Macher is my favorite of all of the Scream killers. We could do a whole, maybe we need
Oh
to do an
yeah.
episode about Scream sometime. So I'll save my
I absolutely
thoughts.
love that reveal scene and how like psychotic they are. It's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, it is so good. And I love how like on purpose cheesy the movie is in places.
I was gonna say it's very campy, it's very self-aware, but
It
it kind of
is.
like it's the best version of that because it invented it basically, and then every horror movie tries to copy it now and it's not as good. Like
No.
that's the best version.
But what might be my all-time favorite horror movie, and I go back and forth between Scream and this one, but what's probably my all-time favorite is The Conjuring.
Oh, okay, I saw that a long time ago, but I need to rewatch it.
I have seen all of them. The only ones worth watching, honestly, are The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. Um,
Mhm.
The Conjuring is horrifying. It's another one of these like demon, possession, scary Catholic churchy kind of movies.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's
like the modern Exorcist for sure.
yes. The Conjuring 2, though, the only reason I didn't put it on the list is because this is a weird take. I heard someone say this and then I never could unsee it again. The Conjuring 2 is not a horror film. It is a love story wrapped up in horror decor, basically.
Mhm.
Because the main point of The Conjuring 2 is the love between the Warrens, the main couple, and kind of what they would do for each other. And it's just so beautiful of a love story that I can't even put it on a horror list, but I love them both.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
I
is the
haven't seen the second
entirety
one,
of my
so
list. You see the second one, stop after that. The rest of it is like all of the
yeah,
Annabelles and the
that's
whatevers,
what I heard.
none of it's worth it except The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. I've seen them all.
Okay.
I don't regret spending the time to watch them because I love this world, but the ones worth watching are the first two Conjurings, and then everything else is junk.
Mhm. You actually didn't mention the other ones that I was gonna say, like the newer ones. So I'll
Oh
just
my
shout them
goodness.
out real quick. So one of them I rewatched like last week in preparation for this. It's Get Out. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yes,
Have you
I've
seen
seen
it?
Get Out.
Okay, yeah. Get Out, I think, is like one of the great modern horror films where it's like super original, super well acted, well written, just everything about the execution. The ending, we talk about endings. The ending's really good. It ties everything together. The commentary is excellent. It's just kind of a perfect movie. So I definitely think that's kind of an essential. I feel like it probably defines the modern horror movie, I would say. It's kind of the most iconic one, or at least the most relevant one, and it's as good as people say. So,
Yeah.
but I really want to talk about the other one was Hereditary, which I mean, people talk about that to death. The only thing I have to say about Hereditary is that Toni Collette gives like my favorite performance ever. She's so good in that.
How did she not win all the things for that?
Well, it's actually because of her, I think, that now they're starting to award horror people.
The scene at the dinner table, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, she is amazing.
I
She
know
makes that movie. She
she
really does.
does. Yeah.
So were those the only ones that you
Well, I did want to mention, I guess I'll save it for my underrated, but it's like, I guess what I'll say is it's another Jordan Peele movie, but I think it's underrated.
Okay, well,
So,
you want to jump into our underrateds to wrap things up?
sure, I'll go ahead and talk about it now because Get Out was his first movie. This is his latest movie. It's called Nope,
Oh,
and
I've not
this
seen
is
it
a
yet.
this is a very divisive movie actually because Get Out was like everybody loves Get Out. But this one I think is like so much more intricate and like Get Out, it's like such a simple premise, it's very easy to follow. It's just very well executed. Nope is extremely complicated and there's like a million ideas going on, but somehow it like all ties together and I don't really know how to explain it. It's so hard to describe this movie because it is technically a horror movie, I think, there's elements of it, but it's more just like existential and just like I don't know what genre it is actually, but it's basically about this family of they live near Hollywood and they supply the horses that people use in films. So
Oh,
they kind of like breed the horses and they're on the set and like make sure that everything goes smoothly and everything. And it's the same actor who is the star of Get Out, and also Keke Palmer is his sister.
oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. Okay, it's all
she's also
flooding
really
back to
good.
me as you
Hmm.
talk about it, all the previews and stuff for it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got
But
to
it's
watch
basically
that.
about them experiencing a UFO sighting.
Oh,
And but it's like it's such a unique take on the UFO. It's not what you would think it would look like or act like or anything like that. The imagery is absolutely stunning. It's so creative, but um, it's just so interesting because the movie's basically about how we have to like film everything and we care more about like getting fame and getting like internet clout than our survival. And so
so
it's
relevant.
it's yeah, it's very relevant. It's even though there's a lot of like deep and complicated more ambiguous things about the movie, there is that commentary that's very clear. So even if you don't like pick up on every little detail, you still get the message. But it's also about like trauma and stuff because Steven Yeun is also in this movie. He's more of like a side character, but his backstory that they show is super interesting and it ties into the movie, but it's not like it could have been left out and the movie would have been fine, but I think adding in all of that just adds to the texture and of this movie. It's just it's so rich, and I have to rewatch it like five more times to understand it, but uh, it really blew me away. So I'm very glad I watched that, and I would highly recommend it. I think it's even better
Awesome.
than Get Out, which is I didn't think was possible. So uh, so that's one of my main underrated picks. Uh, Another one is Let the Right One In, which
Okay,
is
I read this
a
book and saw the movie.
okay, yeah, this is I think it's Swedish.
Hmm.
It's yeah. Um this is just one of the most like romantic horror movies I've seen. And it's so interesting because it's scary, but also it's kind of a comfort movie at the same time. And I think it's because of the atmosphere it creates. It's this very it feels otherworldly almost because it's set in Sweden and it's like snowing and it's just the something about the quality of the cameras like I don't know it's just very romantic the way it's filmed and even though it's very disturbing at times I don't know I kind of it's like you said with The Omen you rewatch that all the time. This is weirdly also kind of a comfort movie for me. But it's hard to explain. But you said you've seen it?
Yes, I've seen it. It didn't catch me that way, like it didn't sit with me like that, but as soon
Mhm.
as you said it, my first feeling was like that very ethereal, like
Mhm.
the
It's very
snow and the,
dreamlike.
yes, very dreamlike. Um, did you have other underrateds that you wanted to recommend?
Um, I do want to shout out some more classic ones. These are from the 60s. There's a movie called Seconds, which I think is super underrated. It's starring Rock Hudson, and this is just such a creepy movie. It came out around the time when like the code was starting to be broken. And it has some really like disturbing imagery and stuff. Like it doesn't feel like a 60s movie. Um, but
Interesting. Never heard
this
of
is
it.
one of those really it reminds me of another old movie called Dark Passage with Humphrey Bogart, where he gets plastic surgery. And so for the first half of the movie, you don't see his face because it's like supposed to be a different person. And then when he gets the plastic surgery, he's Humphrey Bogart. And
Oh,
so So this is very similar. Rock Hudson gets plastic surgery, and he looks like Rock Hudson at the end, but it's so much darker and more disturbing. This is the ending of this movie is unforgettable. Like if you watch this movie at all, watch it for the ending because I promise it's incredible. It's very unsettling, and you'll be thinking about it for a while. And then the other old movie I want to shout out is Wait Until Dark, and no one has seen this movie. This is very under the radar,
I don't
but
even know
it's
if I've
starring
heard of it.
it's starring Audrey Hepburn, who is like one of the biggest movie stars
What?
back then. And it's maybe my favorite performance by her. She plays this blind woman, and she does a really good job of like making you believe it. And these people come, and I think it's about like a heroin thing. Like, yeah,
Heroin like the drug?
she basically has this doll with heroin inside, but she
Oh,
doesn't know. She just thinks it's a
oh,
regular doll. And so these people like come into the house pretending to be other people, and she's blind, so she just believes them. And they're like taking advantage of her the whole time, trying to figure out where the drugs are because they don't actually know where it is, but they know she has it. And she has no idea what they're talking about. And it's just really it's kind of like Rosemary's Baby where she feels helpless. And but it's without giving too much away, it's more of a happy ending because they take advantage of her, but they underestimate her, basically. So that's all I'll say
gotcha.
about that. But yeah, that's it's so underrated. I don't know why people don't talk about it. It's really good though. And then my last one is we mentioned Halloween, which is John Carpenter. This one is maybe my favorite John Carpenter that I've seen. It's called In the Mouth of Madness. Have you heard of
I've
that?
heard of this, but not seen it.
Okay. This is very Lynchian. Like if you've seen Twin Peaks or something, it's very similar to that kind of vibe. Very abstract, and it's just very surreal. And sometimes that can be annoying, but I think in this movie it's just so it's very funny as well. It's not self-serious at all.
Mm,
And it's just it goes in these weird directions. Like it's just I've only seen it once. I want to rewatch it, but it just made such a strong impression on me. But it's basically what the title says. It's basically this semi-normal guy who basically is driven to madness because of all these crazy things that happen. Um, but it goes in places you would never expect. It's so insane. The thing I would
okay.
compare it to is Twin Peaks, like the end of Twin Peaks. If you've seen that, it's like that kind of
I have
absurdity.
not, but I know the vibes of Twin Peaks,
Yeah,
so I get what you're trying to say.
yeah. But
Yeah,
that's all I have. I would highly
um,
recommend those last few that I mentioned.
so I actually had trouble even coming up with a list for this because number one, I've seen a lot of like very hyped horror, and therefore it's not underrated. But and I've also not seen a lot of old stuff like you have that I could go in and recommend that people aren't aware of. So these are the ones that I wrote down. First of all, I've already mentioned this, The Descent. It is a cave diving movie. It's a group of women. Um, the acting is hit or miss, but overall horrifying. And
I think that's underrated, I would say.
yeah, um, just really good horror, honestly. Um, Another one that I wrote down is from 2007. It is uh, a series of little vignettes that all have a common theme and are strung together. It's called Trick or Treat.
Oh, I have seen that. It's really
And
good.
I love it. It's, I mean, it's not the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, but each of the little stories is interesting
Mhm.
enough to like keep your attention, and then they tie it all together at the end. It's got some surprisingly uh, big stars in it now. Maybe
Mhm.
we're not then. Um, I really enjoy it. I think it's an awesome little horror movie.
I
And
agree.
the
I think the it really does the anthology thing right because that it's very hard to keep your attention if you're constantly like changing the story. But I think I remember all of the sections I really were really entertaining.
yeah, none of them were boring. All of them had a good little payoff. They were just long enough to build up, so that you actually care about what's about to happen and everything. And they were all very different, but then they tied them all together because they're all happening on Halloween, obviously, because it says trick or treat. Um, the third one is a more recent movie called Thanksgiving.
I've seen that too.
I thought this was a fun,
It's a riot.
scary little slasher. Like, but fun. Like, if you want something that's not gonna totally horrify you, but still be a nice, good, good murdering good time.
Yeah.
This is great. I would say it's more akin to something like uh gosh, what was I going to say? What is that dang movie called? Happy Death Day or something, but
Mm,
it's gorier than that. So it's a little more
yeah.
true horror than that, but just like a fun mystery. Who is it? Who's the killer? Who's going to die next? How are they going to be killed? Where's the killer going to be? I just think it's a good time. And I don't know, I
Yeah,
don't
we
hear
also
people
don't have
talking about it.
enough outwardly Thanksgiving themed movies, so it's a good movie to
No.
watch every Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
it's one of the few.
the only one I watch is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But that's another one that you can
Yeah.
watch.
So that is my list because a lot of my other ones are definitely not underrated. A lot of the other ones are very popular.
For some
Um,
reason, most of the ones I've seen are pretty underrated. So
yeah, but you gave me some great recommendations. I can't wait to hop into them. And I am so serious about we need to do an episode just about Scream because I could talk about Scream for
Mm.
hours
Yeah.
on end
Unfortunately,
ad
I
nauseum.
heard the latest one is not the best.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the worst, though,
Really?
to
Well, because
me.
I think I liked all the previous ones.
Um,
I remember
there
not loving three, but I really liked two, four, five.
I see, that's where I differ from a lot of people. I cannot stand 5, but
Mhm.
I like
Well,
6.
I don't love it. I think four is the last great one.
Yeah, 3 is not great, but it's at least fun. 5 to
Mhm.
me was neither great nor fun. So then I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah, I just think
Um,
they kind of ruined it with the modern take. I don't know.
yeah. But 7 is not great, but I would love it if you watched it and then we could do an episode because I would totally be down for that.
Yeah, we could even do like a ranking or something.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm down.
Awesome.
I
Well,
do want
thank
to
you
do like
for
a Halloween special, that'd be fun. So that could be that.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Well, thank you for having me on your podcast. I had so much fun talking about all these horror movies and would love to come
Me
back sometime and
too.
talk some more.
I'm excited to watch some of the ones you mentioned too. Like The Descent has been on my list. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, and definitely circle back and watch It Follows.
Oh
Definitely
yeah, It
circle back.
Follows is the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you say you had not seen The Strangers with Liv
No.
Tyler? Watch that one in the daytime, like maybe with all the lights turned on. Like seriously, will scare you so bad. Something else I didn't mention at any point in here, but are movies that I just think are fun, like a fun series is the Purge movies.
Mm.
Um, they got sillier as it went on, but they're at the beginning. I mean, that first one was just came out of nowhere. It reminded me a little bit of how Obsession has been in the sense that it's like we watched it thinking this is a nothing movie and we're like, wow, this movie really had something to say and was really well done for not much money and well acted and everything. So that is another one I will recommend.
Cool. Well, before we go, I know you previously had another podcast. Do you want to plug that? I'm
Um,
interested in checking it out.
no, because I don't remember what it was called.
Oh my
And
God.
and I did not own it or
Oh,
anything.
okay.
I don't even know where it exists anymore. So so
That's
no.
funny.
Um yeah,
I
And
was
it's
trying to
a
find it, but I couldn't find it.
no, probably not. I don't even know if it exists out there. We did interview Katie Sackhoff one time, who is, do you know who that is?
No.
Did you watch The Mandalorian or any of that?
Yes.
You her name is, what the heck is her? Bo-Katana. She had
Sounds
shorter blonde hair,
familiar.
but she
Okay.
was also, or Bo-Katan. She was also a long time ago in a show called Battlestar Galactica. She's
Okay.
been on different things. I did interview her once, but once again, I don't know where that exists anymore, if anywhere.
Well, that's
Um,
cool.
so no, but that was a
Okay.
fun experience of my life.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd love to have you back on. We'll have to figure
Yes.
out a time. I don't know of any like horror movies coming out after Obsession and Backrooms. Those were just the ones I was looking forward to, but I'm sure there's going to be something else.
I'm sure there will be. If anything else crops up, I'm happy to come on and do a review.
Mhm. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.